So today we're going to be building a simple tax calculator using Microsoft Excel. I'm going to be doing that based on the Nigerian tax law 2025. So you need to understand where your money is going and how everything is being calculated. So let's go into the second slide. So we're going to be doing this based on the PAYE, and this is for people that receive salaries, not for business. So definitely it's only for people that receive salary on how their tax is being calculated. So we have different bands. So we have lower limit and upper limit for each band. So for band 1, which is 0 to 800,000, you're going to be taxed. From 800 to 3 million, you're going to be taxed at 15%. From 3 million to 12 million, 18%. From 12 million to 25 million, 21%. From 25 million to 50 million, 23%. From 50 million and above, 25%. You need to understand that based on your taxed amount from your salary, you can fall into multiple brackets. So don't think, oh, because I'm earning 12 million, I'm going to be taxed based on this particular bracket. No, it might not work like that. You might have deductions that takes you to a lower band. So let's look at what I mean by that. So if you look at the slide, so we have something we call the additional reliefs, meaning that there are other things that are not going to be taxed when you have them in your salary, such as pension, national housing fund, health insurance, and your house rent at 20%, and it's capped at 500,000. So all these are going to be tax free, so you're not going to be paying any tax on this. So let's look at the next slide so you understand it better. So now looking at this scenario here, we have a grade 4 level staff, and the basic salary is 8 million, and you can see the NHF contribution is 200,000, the health insurance another 200,000, the pension at 640,000, and the annual rent is 2.5 million. And if you look at the 20% of the 2.5 million, it's 500,000. Now you need to understand something here. The rent is capped at 500,000. And what do I mean by this? So if this person pays 3 million for rent, that means the 20% is going to be 600,000. So the government is going to cap it at 500,000. They're not going to give the person 600,000 tax allowance. So that's how it works. So let's go to the next slide, and so you understand it better. So let's look at somebody that have 6.5 million, not as the salary, as the taxable amount in the salary after removing all deductions. So you can see that 6.5 million, 800,000 is tax free. So definitely 800,000 goes here. At the end of the day, is 800 times 0 is 0. So that's cool. For band 2, you can see start from 800,000 to 3 million at 15%. So what happens here is that you look at 6.5 million. If it's greater than the 3 million, definitely it is, then you're going to get the variance and at 15%. So it's like next 3 million from this salary minus 800,000, that is 2.2 million at 15%. So for band 3, we have 3 million to 12 million. You can see 6.5 is now up to 12 million. So what happens here is that you're going to take this 6.5 million minus 2.2 million, which the person had paid for this band, and minus band 1, which is 800,000, and you're going to have something like 3.5 million, and that's the amount that's going to be taxed. And from this point, you can see that the salary can't go over band 4 to band 6, and this is the main concept here. So you're going to be taxed based on band 1, band 2, band 3, and it's going to be 0 times 800, 15% times 2.2 million, 18% times 3.5 million. And this concept shows that somebody that have 6.5 million as the taxable amount can go into multiple brackets. So that's just the concept. So let's look at another concept here. So the next concept is for somebody that has a taxable income of 50.9 million. So definitely it's going to go through all the bracket, because 50 million is greater than the upper limit for band 1. So definitely that person is going to pay the full tax amount for band 1. And if you look at it, even if you have 50 million minus 800,000 is still greater than the upper limit here. So definitely the person is going to pay the full taxable amount for band 2, which is 2.2 million. And if you ask me how do I get 2.2 million for every for band 2, so what I've done is that the upper limit minus the lower limit will give you that variance. So if somebody's salary is greater than the upper limit here, then definitely that person have to pay the whole amount inside that band. And the next 12 million for band 3 minus 3 million. So what's happening right now is that the upper amount is 12 million and you're going to minus it from 3 million. So from the lower to the upper limit, so that's 9 million. Definitely the amount is greater than 12 million, so that person needs to pay 9 million, taxed at 18%. For 12 million to 25 million, the same thing is happening here. So if you look at the concept for 50 million, that means everything needs to go through each band. So at the end of the day, you can see on band 6 the person is going to be taxed based on 900,000. So what's happening here? So 50 million minus 50.9 definitely is 900,000. So that's the leftover, and that's going to be taxed at 25%. So most people think that if they earn maybe 50 million, somebody's going to tax it at 25%. No, it doesn't work like that. So for each band you go through, you have different tax rates. So that's how it works. So let's now build our Excel tax calculator. So before we get started, you need to understand the salary details. So let's get straight into that. So you can see that this person earns 9 million naira, and the NHF contribution at 200,000, the pension at 640,000, and the life insurance at 400,000. So all these are not going to be taxed, and this is the basic salary. And you can also see that this person's house rent is at 3 million. So the 3 million, we need to have the 20% from the 3 million, which is 600,000. And you can also see that it's capped at 500,000. This is from the tax law. You wouldn't be able to get any allowance above 500,000, even if 20% of your house rent is greater than 500,000. So how do we calculate that? So you're going to start off with if function, which is easy. So if function, and we're going to open another bracket, and we want to say that 3 million times 0.2, which is 20%. I'm going to close this bracket, and I'm going to say if this is greater than 500,000, then return 500,000, and if not, return the 20% of the house rent, which is B2 times 0.2. So I'm just going to copy this, I'm going to paste it here, then I'm going to close the bracket, and I'm going to press enter. Now you can see, despite the fact that 20% of 3 million is 600,000, you can see it's capped at 500,000. So if we change this to 2 million, for example, you will see we have 400,000 because it's not above 500,000. So that is how it works. So for the main calculation itself, we're going to be looking at two different functions in Microsoft Excel. We're going to be looking at if function and max and min. So let's get straight into it. So let's go straight into if function. So we have this table here. You need to understand clearly. So we have the lower limit, we have the upper limit, we have the variance, and we have the rate. So the variance is the upper limit minus the lower limit, and this is the rate. And we have the salary here. And what we need to do is 3D referencing. We need to reference the salary details. So I put equals to sign here, then I'm going to click on the 7.36 million and I press enter. Now let me show you something about the 7.36 million. So what we've done right here is to sum up all the allowances, then minus that from the 9 million, which is the basic salary, and we have 7.36 million. So that's just the concept around that. So let's go back in here, and the next thing you need to do is to ensure that you have an upper limit for the last band. And what we normally do is put like a 9999999 there. We know that nobody ends up to like a 9 billion, so that is fine. So the next thing we do is to start calculating it. So the first thing we need to do is to calculate for the first band. We're going to put equals to sign here. I'm going to write a if function, if, and you know, if is going to ask for the argument. If it's true, it returns the value. If it's not, it's going to return another value. So what we're trying to do right now, we're going to say that if the salary is greater than the upper limit, which is 800,000 that we have here, then we're going to say return the variance. If not, return 0. And if I close this bracket and press enter, yep, if the person earns 700,000 or less, you can see no tax. And if the person earns 800,000, you should see, no, this is 8 million, so 800,000, there should be no tax. So undo, yep, You can see that works perfectly. So the next thing we're going to do is for the second band, so which is equals to if the salary is greater than the upper limit for this band, which is 3 million, then return the variance. If not, you open a bracket, you say return the salary minus the F5, which is the first calculation that we've done. Then you close that bracket twice, then you press enter. Now what happened here is that if you add these two together, we have 3 million, and what we've done here is that based on the fact that the salary is 7.3 million, you can see that it's greater than 3 million. So that means the whole variance here needs to be paid for this particular person. So we can go to the next one. So it's just the same thing. If I would say if the salary is greater than the upper limit, which is 12 million, then return the variance. Then if not, return the salary minus 800,000, which we've calculated before. Then put another minus, and that's going to be on F6, and you're going to close the bracket twice. You can just do it like this too. I think it should work. Then you press enter, then you have the 436, and if I calculate everything, you can see that we have 7.36 million here. That's the total. So if I run a calculate, if I sum this, you should have 7 point, yeah. So you can see that for this particular person, they have band 1, band 2, band 3, and I believe they don't have band 4, 5, 6. So let's go ahead and calculate. So we have, if the salary is greater than the upper limit for this particular band, then return the variance. If not, then return the salary minus F5, which is the first one I've calculated, minus the second one, minus the third one, which is F7. Then you close the bracket twice, or you just close it once, and then you press enter. Then it's going to be nothing, because this minus this is nothing. So definitely it's working perfectly. And you do the same thing again. If the salary is greater than the upper limit, which is 50 million here, then return the variance. And if not, return the salary minus the first one, which is 800,000 taxable amount, minus the second one, minus the third one, minus the fourth one, which is F8. And once you close this bracket and press enter, it's going to be nothing, because if you minus this sum from this, is going to give you 0. And let's do the last one. If the salary is greater than the upper limit, then return the variance. If not, return the salary minus the calculations that we've done before. This one minus this one minus this one, and the last one is F9. Then I'm going to close the bracket, and I'm going to press enter. You can see everything is working perfectly. So based on the tax law, we're going to multiply the taxable amount with the rate. So we're going to do equals 800,000 times rate. Then if you drag this down, then you can see the tax this person is going to be paying is 114,800,000. We need to confirm if this is true. So to confirm, we have a website called fiscalreforms.ng, and here you'll be able to see you have the calculator here. So let's go back to our Excel. So let's look at 7,360 and see how much that person will pay. 7,360. I'm not going to put any further deductions because I've done it before. So I'll just come here and click calculate PAYE, and you can see we have 114,800. This is the new tax law. So that person is paying 114,800. Let's confirm if that's correct. Can you see it's working perfectly? So that's how it works. So let's go to max and min. So for the max and min, it's quite logical, but it's something you can understand. So I'm going to start off by explaining the function. So equals minimum. Then I'm going to select this range, and I'm going to close this bracket. It's going to return the lowest number in there. And for maximum, I'm going to do the same thing. Max. I'm going to select this range. I'm going to close the bracket. It's going to return 0 because 0 is greater than minus 200. And you can still go ahead and do the same thing, like equals to, you can say minimum, then you open your bracket, you can say 4, 8, 9. It's going to return 4. You can add it without selecting, so you need to understand that. So let's go ahead and do our calculation for the first one here. So we're going to use simply minimum here. So let's reference our salary. So we go to salary details, we click on 7.3, we come here, we put the 9999999, which is the maximum value here. Nobody's earning this salary. So we can go ahead and start calculating right now. So the first thing is equals, then we're going to say check minimum. Then what's the first number that we're trying to compare? We're going to say the salary, and the second one is the variance. And once we're done, we just close this, and it's going to return the variance because 800 is the minimum value here. So it's just like a simple logic. So instead of you writing an if function, so it's going to check between the salary and the variance, and it's going to pick the lowest one. So if the salary is greater than 800,000, it's just going to return 800,000. And if the salary is less than 800,000, it's going to put the value in there. Times 0 is 0. So you're good. The first band is always like this. So the second band, you put the equals to sign, then you put minimum. Then the next thing you do, you select the variance, which is 2.2 million, and the next thing you do, you open a bracket and you say salary minus, so we put minus, and the previous calculation, which is 800,000. Then you close this twice, then you press enter, then you have your 2.2 million, which is just like you're saying that, can you check if 2.2 million is the smallest number compared to B3, which is the salary minus the previous calculation? Definitely, you know that is not the lowest number. It's 2.2 million, so you're good. So we're going to do the same thing all through. So I'm going to do equals to, I'm going to run the minimum function here. Then the next thing I will do is to select the variance, just like we did before. Then I'm going to open a bracket that, okay, the salary minus 2.2 million minus 800,000. And if we close this, close it twice and press enter, then we're good. And you do the same thing all over again, but I might just want to make it smarter, kind of. So I'm going to lock B3. Then the next I'm going to drag down. So yeah, it's going to give me something like this, but it's much easier for me. I can say E5. I'm going to say E5 minus, then it selects everything, then we're good. For this point, I'm going to say E5 minus E6, then press enter, then we're good. The last one, I'm going to do the same thing from E5. So I can just select this, I can put minus, I can select this, minus, then I press enter, then we're good. Then the next thing, this times the rate, then you drag it down. So if I go ahead and sum, it's going to give me that 114 there about, yeah. And if you check the sides, yeah, you can see 114, so we're good. So that's how to use the minimum to run this. So you can also use the max min, and I'm going to show you that. You don't really need to write a lot of equations doing that, but it's very technical. So let me just show you how it works. So the first thing you need to do, you are going to put in equals to sign, and you're going to write min. So let's just do the min part, so you get to understand why you have to add max to it. So min, I'm going to say the upper limit, which is 800,000, comma, and I'm going to lock in the salary, which is P3, and I'm going to say I'm going to close this. then it's 800,000. Yeah, it looks fine. Then we do the same thing again. I'll say equals to the minimum, then the upper limit is 3 million, and I'm going to check it, compare it to the 7 million, which is the salary. Then what happens next is that you're going to close this, you're going to close the bracket, and you're going to say minus, and you're going to minus it from the previous upper limit. So you get your 2.2. This one is quite easy because you can just drag it down. Once you lock the B3, it should work. Then if you drag it down, but now everything seems correct up to this point, as you can see here, but we now started having negative. Now this is where the maximum plays its role. So what you need to do right now is this, because you know in Excel, if you put all this in a bracket, then it becomes one single number, right? So I'm just going to throw in max, then I'm going to bracket, then you can leave it like this if you want. Then I can come to the end of this place and say if this value is smaller, that compare these two values, which one is the maximum. And I told you the other time minus is smaller, 0 is greater than minus, so that's just the concept. So it's going to be 0. So the same thing, you do max. You can even put the 0 at the beginning here. You can do it like this, it's still going to work. You can do maximum. You're just saying compare 0 to everything here, then definitely it's minus, so 0 is going to lead. Then for the other ones you've done, you can't keep it like that, because if somebody comes here and put maybe a 2 million naira here, you're going to have issues. Can you see we now have minus here? So you need to wrap everything up. So we're going to do the same thing. You're going to write max, then you're going to open this bracket and put your comma here, and you close this, press enter. The same thing here, max, then you put a comma here, close it, and you press enter. You do the same thing here. You put the max, then you're good. So that's it. So I believe you've learned max, min, and if function, and you could easily build a salary calculator. So if anybody comes here and let's say change this value to 3 million, change this one to 12 million, everything is going to change on your calculator. So if you go to this calculator, you can have your breakdown, everything has changed. So that's how it works. So